Hello. I just finished my first 2 days of prospecting. We went to a creek in Centennial, Colorado, which is where we live. It's a suburb southeast of Denver. And as you can see, the creeks here they're going through kind of urban areas, and flood control is of central importance. There's a lot of rocks both on the side and actually on the. There's no bedrock per se, but there actually is granite riprap that kind of acts as bedrock and collects gold. That's a hand dredge. You can go into like so he's fixed material. Hard bottom. So I brought a shovel, 2 buckets. I did not bring my high banker. You can see here I've got a classifier, which is like a half-inch classifier, which is way too big. As you'll see, the gold is micro gold here. So I started with the shovel. There's not really much to dig. You quickly hit the riprap that's kind of the base of the creek. You can dig up a little bit of gravel, but it's kind of the blonde sand. So knowing that there was really nothing to dig, I quickly switched to a hand dredge, a Gold Buddy Magnum Nugget Sucker. It did a pretty good job of it let me get in between the rocks and pull up the gravel and really get under the banks. I'm not exactly sure where the gold comes from, but I suspect that most of the gold that I recovered today actually comes from that dredge, from the in between the rocks. Okay, so I brought the 2 buckets of material back to the house, and a lot of coarse stuff in there that had no gold in it. I've got a Prospector's Dream high banker with a Dream mat as my clean out. Probably not the best. I don't know. It's hard to say whether this is recovering the fine gold. I might swap out the mat for something that's more geared toward fine gold. We'll see. I'm obviously recovering some gold, as I'll show you later in the video, but it's impossible to know what I'm not recovering unless I manually go through all the 2 buckets worth of material, which I didn't do. I classified the material with a 20, 30, and 50 mesh separators. I didn't have I didn't use my 100 mesh. I didn't think it was necessary, but as you'll soon see, it absolutely was. So here I'm working on the finest concentrates, actually the sub 50s. You can see it's hard to see in the pan, but you can see that I've got a lot of black sand, like a thick mat of black sand. I'm trying to pan it out, but there's just too much of it. So I'm gonna have to run it through my blue bowl. I love the blue bowl. It's been great for really fine gold recovery. It is really important to classify the material. Otherwise, you get some bad things will happen. But I like to dump the material kind of around the outside of the bowl. What I find is, as the vortex tends to pull the lighter material, to the center of the bowl, and the bigger pieces of gold. If you set your speed right on the pump, the bigger pieces of gold just stay in place way outside from the center of the bowl. It makes it really easy to pick them up. You don't have to deal with any black sand when you snuffer them up. So now it's time to snuffer up the gold. I think on the first day I had about 10 colors total. One piece was much bigger than the others. Maybe 3 were closer to that larger size. The rest of them were micro. So really, really difficult. I went back a second day today, and I did not bring a shovel. I just used my hand dredge, and only used the hand dredge. And I only brought back maybe 15 pounds of material. But I actually recovered more pieces of color and a bigger, largest piece. So I was kind of really, really working the crevices much harder. So to me, it proves that all the gold that I recovered on the first day actually came from the crevices with the hand dredge. So good to know for these kind of streams. I have a little desktop microscope and a calibration slide that shows distances basically in 0.01 hundredth of a millimeter or 10 micron increments. Here's the first day's gold, at least several pieces of it. It's really hard to get 100 micron gold or smaller from a pan onto a slide like this. Okay, so here's some of the second day's gold. You can see my biggest piece was much bigger. Actually, let's call it 100, 130, 140 microns. Nice big square chunk. It actually makes a noise when you throw it into a vial. That was kind of nice. It actually went through. It was trapped by my 50 mesh. Everything else went through the 100 mesh or the 50 mesh. So I got about 12 pieces of color today. It was better than the first day. And as I said, I only used my hand dredge around the crevices. So in streams like this, which is a lot of them in urban areas where you've got a lot of riprap both on the bank and on the ground, on the creek bed, it might be better to use a dredge of some sort to pull out material between the crevices. So let me know in the comments what you thought. There's gold in Denver. It's fun to find it.